Alright, here's what we're dealing with today. I ordered up a Dayco 71391 lower radiator hose. And I think that this is going to work. Wow, it's dark in here, huh? I think that this is going to work for my lower hose. It's actually pretty darn close to fitting as is. I might just have to trim it a little bit. And then I got the upper hose. This is a Gates 22436, and this is actually meant for a Silverado. So I'm hoping it's going to be pretty close. This one, I have no idea what it's for. I just found a post online somewhere that said people use these for LS swaps. So I'm hoping that the Silverado hose will work. It actually goes to like the perfect spot. It's just that the hose is a little bit small for this end. So I'm gonna probably need to do something about that. I'm not sure what yet. And of course this side it fits perfectly because it's a Silverado engine with a Silverado hose. All right, let's do the lower hose first and see what happens. Oh yeah, I also bought some clamps. All right, let's check out this lower radiator hose. Great news, this thing fits mint. As you can see, it fits like almost perfectly. This is absolutely awesome information. So I cut off this much of one side, this much of another. You can see I kind of cut it and then I trimmed it a little bit more. But yeah, once you cut a little bit off each end, the thing fits like flawlessly. And this is the original Lemans radiator. And then of course, just the stock truck water pump. So yeah, that is definitely the radiator hose that I would recommend. Well, that was unexpected. I put the clamp on this side. Then, of course, ran the hose all the way over here. And I was able to basically just slide the hose on. It's a little bit stretched out. But there's tons of radiator hoses that you can buy that are flared on the end. They're just pre-flared. Where this one, I just had to basically stuff it on there. I did spray it with a little WD-40 just to make it slide easier. So, at this point, I'm going to pour some antifreeze in the engine and see where it pours out. Hopefully it doesn't, but it probably will. So let's see. So great news. I've now had antifreeze in this cooling system for, I'd say a good 3 or 4 hours, and nothing has dripped on the ground yet. I even started it up for a few minutes and let it run. Now the water pump wasn't spinning, obviously, because there's no belt on it, but I feel pretty good about this. The fact that nothing is leaking out of the radiator is a good sign. One thing that I did realize, though, is I have this hose that comes from the, in between the cylinder heads. I don't know if you can see down yonder. So basically there is a hose that goes from one cylinder head to the other, and it vents the cylinder head of coolant and air bubbles and whatnot, and it goes to the cooling system. So I need to get the end of this hose. Normally it plugs into a radiator, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a, well actually I'll just show you. I found this aluminum pipe. This is left over from a previous project. And it happens to be the size I need to fit in between a radiator hose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the hose, and I'm going to put this in between, and I'm going to weld a bung on here that I can then plug this hose into. So it'll be something like that. Alright, what do you think? Will it work? I have no idea. Alright, so let's get started. I got it in the vise now. I've marked the center of it. I'm going to drill right in between these holes. I'm going to start by just drilling a hole, and then what I'm going to do is I found this. This is just a -6 AN fitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the ends off this, and I'm just going to use this center piece as like a thick piece of aluminum that I'm going to weld to the pipe, and then I'm going to tap it with a tap, and then I'll be able to thread in hose fitting. Sound cool? Yeah, I think it'll work. Alright, let's see how it feels. Well, that went easier than expected. So I just drilled the hole there. So now I'm going to cut the ends off this and see where that gets me. Well, hopefully. Well, if that's not pretty, I don't know what is. Okay, so now I'm going to throw it on the belt sander to kind of clean it up a little bit. And then I'm going to probably just weld it onto that pipe. Alright, so I just ran it over the belt sander and kind of cleaned it up a bit. There's some marks in it from the vice grips I was using. So now I'm going to weld this onto the pipe. And then I will tap it, hopefully, with a tap. Alright, let's see if I can weld it. Alright, so here's the final result. You can see there's a fitting in it. And I just welded around the edge here, just built up some weld, and then filed it somewhat smooth so it wouldn't like scratch the rubber. So yeah, this should work for what I needed to do. I'm basically going to just cut the radiator hose, stuff this in between, and then hook this rubber hose up to it and put a clamp on it. So I guess we'll do that next.